guys can be seated. On behalf of Mercersburg's Board of Regents, faculty and staff and students, I want to welcome you all to this very special 128th commencement exercises of Mercersburg Academy. Before we start the official ceremony, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the gift that we have in being here together in this special place to honor the class of 2021. 16 months ago, we never could have imagined a scenario where we would be operating in quarantines, COVID tests, and virtual learning. Nothing could have prepared us for this particular journey except the unique culture that is Mercersburg, which was, I believe, best equipped to face the hardship with resolve, optimism, and our core value of great faith. And yet, despite it all, here we are, on the graduation platform and together. I also want to recognize the 19 seniors and their families who couldn't be with us today and who are joining us virtually from around the world. I want them to know that we understand that their sacrifice and hardship is unique and that we acknowledge them, and we're glad that they can be with us today as we honor the accomplishments of this remarkable class in this remarkable year. It certainly reminds us of the words of our alma mater. She has faced the wild storm waves of years, and bravely she faces them still. As head of school, I am filled with two distinct emotions on this day as we finish up, yeah, I'm going to say it, the unprecedented year. How many times have you heard that phrase? And those emotions are pride and gratitude. Gratitude to our community for approaching and engaging in this year with an open mind and a willingness to pivot, a very common word used at Mercersburg this past year. I believe actually that it was our willingness to continue to evolve our program to best respond to the ever-changing landscape of COVID-19 that was a large part of our success. In fact, if we had not extended the year by a week, we'd all be sitting in the field house last Saturday in the rain with masks on. So I'm particularly grateful that we're here on this beautiful day for this beautiful commencement in this beautiful location. I also feel a deep sense of pride. Pride because I think there is not a single school in the country that had the success that we did this year. And that is because of all of you. From our parents and your willingness to honor our bubble by adding additional sacrifices that you already make in sending your children here, to our students who settled into and accepted, mostly accepted, the required restrictions and protocols, and who embraced their creativity by developing new forms of fun on campus, mostly outside, and with a lot less technology. And finally, to the faculty and staff who worked tirelessly all year to reimagine and redesign our program to operate in a pandemic. I hope you all join me in recognizing that feeling of the sense of the trademark Mercersburg collective pride for what we all achieved this year. I thought it might be fun to remind us of a few things. 31 weeks of school, 22 of them were here on this campus. 0 transmissions of COVID-19 on the campus. 2 weeks of quarantine. Wasn't terrible. We did have that 1-2 day stretch that we weren't planning for in the fall. Do you guys remember that? Where we had a little COVID scare. That doesn't include the additional quarantine days that our international students had to endure when they traveled home. The students began a new tradition this year of evenings on the Prentice Zimmerman Quad, a space that until this year had not been a student gathering place. And can anyone guess how many COVID tests we endured as a community this year? Got a guess? What do you think? 5,000. Okay, 5,000. Just under 10,000 COVID tests. And yet, despite the restrictions, we held step songs, Irving Marshall Week, the Boxer Bikini Run, Paint the Numbers, prom, dances, outdoor movies, the moving up ceremony, the senior trip, and so much more. In closing, I want to share something with all of you that I learned on the senior trip. You may all know this, but it was something I'd never heard of before. Did you know that there are 3 types of fun? People ever heard this before? Type 1 fun, it's fun when you're in it, and it's fun when you remember it. Type 2 fun, not so fun when you're in it and it's happening, but you kind of remember it as fun as you reminisce with whoever you were going through it with. Type 3 fun, I'm still trying to wrap my head around, because it's not fun when you're in it and it's not fun remembering it, so I'm not quite sure why it's fun, but nonetheless, I'm going to just go with it. There are 3 types of fun. And as an aside, I have to give a shout out to my girl boss boat from the rafting trip on Thursday, boat 663, forever, right? We had some serious type 1 fun, and we got ourselves into some unique type 2 situations, let's just say. But for all of us who are here, I think if we're honest, we actually experienced all 3 types of fun this year, including some type 3 moments. But in the end, I hope that we can all agree that we had a lot more type 1 and type 2 fun that bonded us together with endless memories of this incredibly wonderful, imperfect, and challenging year. Now, seniors, speaking of gratitude, while today is about you and your accomplishments, it's also an important day for your families. Parents, whether your child has been with us for 1 year or 4, you have made an incredible sacrifice of time by letting them go, especially this year. I also believe that your sacrifice was the best gift that you could have given your children, as they have used their time here to develop their voices and their independence. Class of 2021, seniors, will you please join me in thanking your families for all they have done to support you during your Mercersburg journey? And now, before we turn to the program, I do have one logistical announcement. If for any reason anyone would like to go inside, the Simon Theater across the quad in the Bergen Center for the Arts is live streaming the ceremony. Very comfortable seats, air conditioning, so you won't miss a minute if you feel like that's something you'd like to do. And now, let us begin. It is my pleasure to introduce the president of the class of 2021, Rose Potter, who will offer a welcome and announce the senior class gift. Rose.
Welcome, everyone, to the final celebration of the class of 2021. This is a day of joy. This is a day of sadness. This is a day of Thanksgiving to our community, to our campus, to our loved ones who made it possible for us to go here. This is the day where we say goodbye to our classmates and say hello to our lifelong friends. Kanye West once said, "If you had the opportunity to play this game of life, you need to appreciate every moment." A lot of people don't appreciate their moment until it's passed. We have faced a lot of interesting moments this year, some incredible and others difficult. But it's the difficult moments that we need to appreciate the most. It is these moments that define who we are. Class of 2021, we are resilient, we are strong, and we are steadfast. For our class gift, the class of 2021 will continue the tradition of making a donation to the annual fund. This gift will ensure that our class will have 100% participation in the annual fund for the next 4 years. Seniors, I'd like to share one more moment with you before we go off into this brand new world. I'd like you to look around at your classmates, make eye contact with someone, and appreciate this moment. This is the last moment we have all together as a class and as a team. It has been an honor serving as your class president, and it's been an honor being a part of this team. Thank you.
Annually, members of the graduating class are invited to serve as the Nevin Orators, telling the story of their class. Dr. John Nevin, after which this is named, served as the second president of Marshall College from 1841 to 1853. As many of you know, Marshall College, of Franklin and Marshall College, originally existed on this campus prior to the academy. Nevin was known for his strong mind and his Christian spirit. This year, our Nevin Orators for the class of 2021 are Farah Yahaya and Dylan Gantt. Please join me in welcoming our first orator, Farah Yahaya.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm so excited and honored to be speaking today. Thank you. I fell in love with the art of storytelling through my mother. During my childhood, she often recounted the tales of her life in Lagos, Nigeria, vividly detailing the rich and vibrant culture of the country she left, the city she loved, and the tenacity and creativity of her people. It is through the stories she told that my path to self-discovery began. Her experiences and fond memories taught me about a culture that ran through my veins but was relatively foreign to me. Within her words, I found confidence, but I yearned to relish in it, to feel the sense of community she articulated. I struggled to find parallels between the stories I loved and the life I lived. When I walked into the crowded dining hall, buzzing with the noise of overlapping conversations for the first time in 9th grade, I tried to remember the beautiful chaos of the outdoor markets in Lagos my mother described. However, I found it hard to channel that energy and see that same beauty here, miles away at Mercersburg. I felt mostly chaos. So most of the time at my assigned tables, I was quiet, silent, as I tried to weather the storm around me. In the communities I was a part of, I often felt a sense of otherness. Whether it was the uneasiness of looking across the classroom to find a face familiar to mine with no avail, or questioning the worth of my Mercersburg experience when the reality was my feelings of isolation did not align with the ideal tight-knit community I often heard Mercersburg was. And as a Black student here at Mercersburg, I was not afforded the luxury of being a majority, nor the sense of comfort or confidence that that privilege provides. I did not feel that infamous Mercersburg magic that alumni described during school meetings, and I clearly remember that when I sat in this audience 4 years ago, after hearing the heartfelt anecdotes of the graduating class, I left the ceremony thinking to myself, what am I missing? And although it is impossible that I was the only student here who felt detached from a version of Mercersburg that was this ideal experience, the perfect story, it often felt as though I was. In the summer before my junior year, I traveled to Lagos, finally able to experience the city that was once intangible to me. Throughout my trip, I was immersed in culture, familial traditions, and education through experience. Through this, I grew to feel a sense of purpose and recognize my worth within the context of the rich collective story of my heritage. I engaged deeply with the people and environment around me, a stark contrast from back home. I returned to Mercersburg with a changed perspective, an emboldened self-confidence, and a compulsion to interact with the community differently. I began to understand that everyone has the freedom to live without thinking of what ifs or what could be's, a freedom that can give us confidence to be our authentic selves and embrace both the beauty and the flaws of our Mercersburg experience. I fell in love with the art of storytelling through my mother. Now I have come to realize that, like her, each of us have a story to tell. It is easy to create a perfect story of what is or what should be based on mere perceptions of who you think others are and what you think their version of Mercersburg entailed. But the facade of a perfect story does not tell the truths of our unique personal stories. Despite the intimacy of Mercersburg's community, Each of us do not truly know what our fellow community members are narrating within the confines of their mind. We do not know what invisible barriers are surrounding them as they interact with the outside world. As an orator, today I'm supposed to focus on telling the story of the class of 2021. However, I find it hard to believe that I can justly sum up or retell the story of our collective Mercersburg experience, and I can only attempt to imagine what our time here means to us individually. To my classmates, I know my story is not synonymous to yours, but I also know that today, each and every one of us will leave this campus with a common chapter titled Mercersburg, a chapter that tells the story of our time here, each written through the unique lens of our perspectives. In each of our stories, we will be the protagonists, meaning we have the power to control our narratives despite the circumstances. In our stories, we will be leaders, advocates, athletes, pioneers, scholars, creatives, and everything in between. We learn to appreciate criticism and value collaboration to better not only ourselves, but the world around us. In our stories, we welcome and encourage the diversity of thought, culture, perspective, and belief. We are Mrs. Crouch and Mr. McDowell, who took a chance on me, even when I showed up an hour late for my interview 4 years ago. We are Miss Woody, who dared me to dig a little deeper to tell my story when I was in the Write Your Own Novel Springboard this fall. We will embody the warmth of Miss Pacelli as she welcomes students into the Writing Center, and the confidence that Mrs. Titus exuded whilst leading the school for the past 5 years. Today, we celebrate those of us in the class of 2021 who thrived in the absence of representation, persevered through hardships that were not applicable to most, and excelled even when society tried to tell you that you are not the ideal. We celebrate the passion and drive of the members of this class who inspired people around them, even when they didn't know it, who spoke up when it was easier to be silent, who dared to be kind when they didn't have to be. We celebrate that all of us can be here today, on and around this graduation platform, despite the challenges this last year has presented, whether it be the heartache caused by social injustice or the many hardships that the pandemic has created. To the class of 2021, Mercersburg has given us our first few chapters, a strong foundation on which we can build upon to become who we aspire to be. It is up to us to seize the opportunity to write the rest of our stories ourselves, to live lives that are meaningful to us and inspire others. We will continue to thrive and excel in the future by conjuring strength from our past experiences, cultures, friends, families, and lastly, the proud spirit of the Blue Storm. To those who asked me to speak a little louder, to let my walls down a little lower so that I can be making this speech today, thank you. To everyone that I have met here at Mercersburg, from my dorm deans to my advisors, to my family, to my friends, thank you for allowing me to be a character in your book, to be in a few chapters of this story of your life. Congratulations to the class of 2021. We did it. And remember, our stories have just only begun.
Thank you to Farah. And will you please join me in welcoming our second Nevin orator, Dylan Gantt.
Hi, everyone. It is a pleasure and an honor to address you all today as we celebrate our final day at Mercersburg, a final day that cannot be summed up in a few minutes nor in a couple hours. Many of us have spent so long here that we cannot remember life without Mercersburg, and certainly not without the people who made our experiences so memorable. When I think about my time here, I often think back to the countless trips on my way back to campus after a break when someone riding on my van would ask me if I was excited to be back. I always knew my answer was yes, but it was a much more complex response than simply yes or no. I would often say, I don't miss the classes or the homework, but oh man, do I really miss the people. Now, as I look back, my life for the past few years has been centered around those who I call my friends, and now my family. And I believe that many of us can say the same. What are the odds that we would have gotten the opportunity to spend our time here at Mercersburg with those who we have so much in common with, and with those who we relate to so well? When our class first arrived on campus in the fall of 2017, we didn't really know what to expect or what was going to happen. Even for those of us who had a previous connection to Mercersburg as a legacy or perhaps a sibling, we dove headfirst into our new home. Most of us metaphorically, but some literally. For me and a group of ragtag freshman swimmers, we knew our life at Mercersburg was going to be thrilling, because most of us were certainly aware of the swimming legacy here. Whether it was from the act of surviving thousands of yards of Glenn's main sets, or simply just being in the right place at the right time, our little group bonded together, and we called ourselves the Swim Babes, a name more or less symbolic of our place then on the swim team hierarchy. What made life bearable during our first winter season as swimmers was our ability to depend on one another for encouragement and support. Over the next few years, our little bunch changed and evolved as new swimmers joined in, yet we stayed as tightly knit as ever. Even though a few of us chose different PGAs for some seasons, we continue to rely on one another and experience Mercersburg as a family. I find it most amazing that among this small fraction of members of our class, we come from 7 different cities, 5 different United States, and 2 entire nations. The incredible chance makes my head spin that a group of young students like ourselves could come together and become such close teammates, classmates, and most importantly, friends. That if history was repeated a seemingly infinite amount of times, we might have never found each other here at Mercersburg. I like to think that the class of 2021 as a whole is very much like the Swim Babes, that we have come from all over the world, that we have lived our lives in such interesting and diverse ways, yet we have found each other here. We have added invaluable members to our class over our time here that now we simply couldn't see ourselves without. And although we have matured and grown, perhaps discovered new passions, we haven't lost sight of what truly matters. When I think about our class and the connections we have with one another, I envision all of our bonds coalesced into this one web-shaped pattern. It connects all of us to each other, and it's so beautiful because it wasn't planned. We didn't begin our time here knowing what lay ahead of us. We experienced Mercersburg in unique, wonderful, and sometimes painful ways. Our web of connections is so intertwined because of our activity and legacy as students and now leaders on campus. This web, it was spun on the football field, on the turf, the tennis and squash courts, on the Simon Theater. It was spun in the pool, in the dance studios, in the classrooms, in the chapel, and of course, at our infamous dining hall tables. We learned about each other on late-night bus rides returning from Petty or around the fire pit on the Student Center patio. We celebrated and cheered as our teams placed at Easterns or state championships. Some of us played the saxophone in the band or sang in the chorale, and some turned at every dance concert. And some declaimed uninterrupted and unfazed for 8 minutes in front of the entire school during Irving Marshall Week. Much like the ragtag group of swim babes who arrived here 4 years ago, the entire class of 2021 has grown and changed, and we have discovered lifelong friendships in one another. We share these bonds, and we share this web. It connects us together and declares that we are the class of 2021. Before I leave you today, I want to share an expression that I find oxymoronic, yet so true. The expression goes, "It's a small world." In fact, the world is quite massive, but it appears that the world isn't only small when compared to the size and scope of the entire universe, that instead we often find those who we are meant to find, and the web we share comes together naturally. Class of 2021, my friends and classmates whom I've gotten to know over the years, and of course, my fellow swim babes. We may find it hard to believe that the world beyond Mercersburg will be easy or simple, but it does include every single one of us. We are connected in a genuine and unbreakable way. And I believe in the bottom of my heart that if we found each other here, it won't take much to find each other again, to maintain the bonds that we have formed over our time at Mercersburg. We have been each other's supporters, counselors, 500 freestyle counters, and biggest fans for so long. Don't stop now. Foster and care for your relationships that you've made here. Mercersburg has changed us, and likewise, we have changed Mercersburg. Though our time here was far from perfect, it was authentic, and it was remarkable. Throughout the whole experience, we made it for one another and kept us coming back for more. It may be our time to leave campus as graduates and alumni of Mercersburg, but it's not goodbye. To my class, the one and only class of 2021, and to the rest of the Mercersburg family, thank you for making the past 4 years of my life so memorable and the best. And I look forward to seeing the success that you all attain in your futures. I will miss you all so much. Thank you.
Thank you to Dylan. And now we turn to a series of academic awards. Associate Head for School Life, Dr. Julie Maurer, will assist me. First, we would like to honor those students whose academic achievement has earned them membership in the Cum Laude Society. We have, as a community, already honored their achievement, but deem it appropriate to celebrate them again today. Would the individual members of the 2021 Cum Laude stand when I read their names and remain standing until I reach the end so that we might recognize them as a group? Maggie Betkowski, Ryan Bland, Kevin Chen, Kirsten Donnelly, Marley Ekden, Sabine Ellison, Stanley Fang, Dylan Gantt, Clara Getty, Lois Hargrove, Kenny Hong, Min-Soo Jung, Elizabeth Kendrick, Chi-Vu Kiu, Marco Mallow, Alexa Marsh, Aiden McCracken, Dalila Malcolmova, Shoki Nemoto, Kristen Nguyen, Sarah Norbash, Ebube Onwusika, Brandon Ryu, Chelsea Sebi Bruno, Leanne Wang, and Elsa Yelk. Please join me in congratulating these seniors. Now a group of prizes is awarded for distinguished performance in courses or for special contributions to extracurricular areas closely allied with academic departments. We'll begin with English. The Harry F. Smith Prize is awarded for outstanding performance in senior English, and the William C. Heelman Prize is awarded for English composition. The Smith Prize is awarded to Leanne Wang, and the Heelman Prize is awarded to Alexa Marsh. Two more prizes related to work in English. The Pratt L. Tobey Prize is awarded for outstanding contribution to the 15, and the Gordon M. McCartney Prize is given to the senior who has shown the most improvement in English composition. The Tobey Prize is awarded to Maddie Dawson, and the McCartney Prize is awarded to Casper Malmoros. The Dr. Julius Szymanski Prize is awarded for the most outstanding contribution to the review during the year, and the John Mountain Prize is given to the student who has written the best essay on an appreciation of American poetry. The Szymanski Prize is awarded to Leanne Wang, and the Mountain Prize is shared by Kevin Chen and Maggie Betkowski. The Poetry Prize was established by the class of 1980 and is awarded to a student who submits the work of poetry judged by the English department as strongest in the competition for this award. This award this year is awarded to Saskia Mentor, who is virtual. So congratulations, Saskia. In the fine arts, the Head of School's Purchase Prize. Each year, the head of school selects one or more works from the senior exhibit to purchase by the school. The work selected this year is an acrylic painting by Lucy Bowman. The Austin V. Mclean Prize in Fine Arts is awarded to the student displaying the greatest industry, interest, and understanding in the fine arts. It is awarded to Jay Howley. An award is made annually to the student whose original art, published in the current issue of the Blue Review, has been judged to be of superior merit. It is shared by Jay Howley and Ryan Bland. The Music Director's Prize is given in appreciation of former headmaster Walter Bergen for his 25 years' support for the arts at Mercersburg. It is awarded to Shoki Namoto. The Hamilton Vocal Music Prize is awarded to the student who has contributed most to the success of vocal music this year. And the Senior Instrumental Music Prize is awarded for sustained contribution to the success of the instrumental music program. The Hamilton Prize is awarded to Jordan Beard, and the Instrumental Music Prize is shared by Kenny Hong and George Devone. The Dance Director's Award is given to a student for outstanding progress and exceptional accomplishment in dance, and a Choreography Prize is given each year for excellence in choreography. The Dance Director's Award is shared by Leanne Wang and Mia Ingram, and the Choreography Prize is shared by Sarah Norbosch and Rose Potter. A prize is given each year for excellence in dance. This year, it is shared by Maddie Dawson and Lucy Bowman. The Stony Batter Prize is awarded to a member of the senior class for sustained contribution and exceptional achievement in drama. This year, it is shared by Dylan Dowling and Chelsea C.B. Bruno, who is virtual. Congratulations, Chelsea. We're thinking of you. Prizes in history. Awards are given for excellence in the study of AP Comparative Government and for excellence in elective studies in history. The AP Comparative Government Award is given to Clara Getty, and the award for elective studies in history goes to Anna Devers. The Colonel Wills Prize is given for excellence in the study of economics. First prize is awarded to Mia Ingram, and second prize is awarded to Ryan Bland. Prizes in foreign language. The John H. Montgomery Prize in Advanced Level French is now awarded, and the H. Eugene Davis Prize in Spanish is also awarded to the senior who, during 3 or 4 years at Mercersburg, has shown the greatest improvement and general excellence in Spanish. The French prize is awarded to Sabine Ellison, and the Spanish prize is awarded to Maddie Dawson. Awards are given for excellence in the advanced study of Latin and German. The Advanced Latin Prize is awarded to Leanne Wang, and the Advanced Level German Award goes to Lily Arrowwood. Prizes in mathematics. A prize in multivariable calculus and a prize in advanced studies statistics are now awarded. The multivariable calculus prize goes to Kevin Chen, and the statistics prize goes to Ryan Bland. The Eugene Bershatsky Memorial Scholarship for Excellence in Mathematics was established in the fall of 2017 and provides a monetary award to a graduating senior whose academic record has shown him or her to have significant aptitude for mathematics, and who also intends to pursue a STEM degree in college. Qualified seniors must apply and be selected by a campus committee. The award is meant to support the extraordinary cost of college for this student. It is awarded to Elizabeth Flaherty. Prizes in science. The Wilmarth Jacobs Physics Prize for Excellence is awarded to Dylan Gantt. Please join me in acknowledging and congratulating all of our academic award winners. As appropriate culmination to the academic awards, we will now hear remarks from this year's Valedictorian and Salutatorian. These two students earned top honors with the highest and second highest GPAs over their upper middler and senior years at the Academy. First, please join me in welcoming and congratulating the Salutatorian for the class of 2021, Leanne Wang.
Can I move this down? Okay, I think it's fine. Many who know me will know that I love spreadsheets. I have spreadsheets for everything. Travel itineraries, coffee shops I want to visit, comparing health insurance plans, planning college courses, everything. And I've always loved spreadsheets and lists, charts, organization of any kind. But a while ago, sprawled on my living room couch and bored from virtual school, I started asking myself, why spreadsheets? The essence of spreadsheet making is breaking things down into categories. Last winter, for example, I taste tested 20 different brands of coconut water. Upon first sip, I could vaguely know whether I liked or disliked each one, but then I had to think hard to codify this intuition into ordered reasons. So I devised a criteria and rated each brand on individual categories, including sweetness, aroma, aftertaste, how coconutty it was, etc. Recorded these ratings on a spreadsheet and averaged for total score. And for those interested, the winner was a brand called If. In its column for other notes, I simply wrote God. Anyways, the point is, I did a lot of soul searching, trying to figure out what it was about spreadsheets that appealed to me. And I realized that I like finding patterns. I like taking jumbled ideas and sorting them. I like asking and analyzing why things are the way they are. And what I'm trying to get at is that I like finding order in chaos. Perhaps a year and a half ago, this theme of order and chaos might have fallen upon deaf ears. But I think everyone sitting here or watching virtually can now relate to this intimately. I spent an entire year from March 2020 to March 21 back home in Hong Kong taking classes virtually. I was extremely lucky to have been safe and healthy, and I'm really grateful for the unexpected year I got to spend with my family. But COVID was undoubtedly chaotic. Everything was shutting down, people were hoarding toilet paper like it was an apocalypse, and there was a pervading uncertainty of no one knowing what would happen next. Moreover, I no longer had the routine of school. I was taking classes at 11 p.m. from my bedroom with the rest of my day free. I no longer had a mushroom and cheese omelet at 8:20 or dance from 4 to 6 or math center and LMC duty in the evenings. There was an altogether lack of structure, and for someone who thrives on structure and order and neatly designed spreadsheets, it was hard in the beginning. And initially, I was kind of lost and a bit frustrated at my sudden decline in productivity. After trying to force myself to do things with no avail, I finally, very reluctantly, decided to give up control and simply do whatever I felt like doing. I went on hikes alone across Hong Kong, went grocery shopping way too frequently, picked up journaling, stared out of my balcony for hours at a time. And soon I realized that my sense of disorientation inevitably came from the loss of structure, of no longer being told what to do and when to do it. But it was exactly this lack of structure, this disorder, that gave me the needed space to think, to find new things to appreciate, and to make my own decisions. So I started to appreciate disorder more, to notice the chaos all around me. But this theme is not just relevant to this year and to the class of 2021. Our Mercersburg careers have been defined by chaos. Most of our best moments here were undoubtedly chaotic. In one of Trini's bake raffles, my friends and I collectively won over 60 chocolate chip cookies. Together, we finished all of them that night, and having read something about nuts absorbing sugar, proceeded to eat from a 16-ounce container of cashews. Chaos. Pre-calc honors. I got a C on a test on polar graphs. As I walked down the slope of Irvine, having just gotten my test back, I immediately started crying, thank you, shower, and fully broke down in the dance studio's dressing room. Chaos. The past 9 dance concerts, the scramble to finish and clean every piece at the last minute, late night notes during tech week, quick changes, missing pieces of costumes, chaos. And there's a lot more chaos, blasting Avril Lavigne and Blink-182 to hype ourselves up before dance, texting Mr. Bosey for McDonald's at 11 p.m. or burning old papers in his backyard while eating Buffalo Wild Wings, pretending like I know the words to the alma mater, reading Kant and cramming maps essays at 2 a.m., getting sunburned at Second Bridge, eating chicken salad wraps in the rain, cooking pasta in a kettle, salvaging leftover chocolate chip cookie pie after Monday night dinners, watching my roommate break down and sip apple juice from a 2-pound jug with a metal straw, feeding her Chex Mix with chopsticks. From the chaos of these 4 years, I've found order. I've built connections, found friends I truly care about, and people I truly respect. I've found what I value: hard work, dedication, mushroom and cheese omelets, and the dining hall on weekend mornings. And most importantly, I've internalized that after the threshold of 5 cookies, it's simply not worth it anymore. So I leave you with this. Our lives will continue to be full of chaos, and in the midst of it, it may feel overwhelming and inescapable. But stop for a moment. Don't try to avoid or fight it, but appreciate it and live in it fully. Realize that chaos is necessary for any order to emerge, and try to pull order from it. This process is what it really means to feel, to struggle, to live, and to be human. Before I turn over the podium, I'd like to give a few thanks. First, to my parents who are here for the first time since freshman year with my brother. Thank you for always having trust in me, for letting me make my own decisions and own my own mistakes. Thank you, Mr. Bosey, for all the food and laughs and Uno games, but moreover, for all our conversations about books and Buddhism and people in Catan, and of course, for helping me with this speech. You're a real one. Thank you, Mr. Thorne, for listening to all my ramblings about Latin grammar and putting me onto the path of linguistics. Ms. Dalton, for giving me the guidance and space to be a better dancer and leader, and for being endlessly energizing and entertaining. Ms. Pacelli, for always having so much faith in me. Mrs. Titus, for letting me feel that my voice mattered. Thank you to all my friends, to my dance family and my MAPS class, to everyone who has ever chatted with me over family-style lunch, told me congrats after a dance concert, or held the door open for me. You are what makes Mercersburg a special place for me and for everyone. And of course, thank you to the class of 2021. Together, we've lived through the last 4, 3, 2, 1 years of chaos and came out better. Thank you.
Thank you to Leanne. And now will you please join me in welcoming and congratulating the valedictorian for the class of 2021, Alexa Marsh.
September 2nd, 2019. The first day of junior year, or, as we call it at Mercersburg, upper midler year. It was a day marked by a mishmash of emotions. An appreciation for the familiarity of a place and its people that I had yearned for as a 10th grade transfer student, eagerness for the challenge of classes and intellectual investigation, and unease about the notoriety of an academic year filled with standardized tests, heavy course loads, and a looming college process. As I shuffled into my United States history classroom that first day, my back, already aching from the weight of my infamously overstuffed backpack, bursting with binders and an equally packed pencil case, I claimed a corner seat that would be my home for the next few months. Gazing around the room, I noticed a piece of paper pasted above the doorway. Enclosed in quotes, it read, "Laugh, think, cry." Mr. Coretti soon stepped in, greeting us with his classic party people address and infusing the room with a palpable energy. As he introduced the course, preparing us for its rigor and challenge in a way that was in equal parts exhilarating and intimidating, he turned to the words taped above the door and recited the quote in its entirety. "If you laugh, you think, and you cry, that's a full day." These were the words that would guide our evolution of learning, our navigation through the dark depths of United States history. And they did. They manifested in the gushes of giddy glee that accompanied the relief of turning in a tricky DBQ. the tears that threatened to spring from the corners of my eyes when, after our first graded discussion, I feared that my nerves had jumbled my thoughts and my words, and I wondered why I couldn't just speak. In the questions that itched my brain as we pored over the momentous moments of American history and witnessed both the parallel and unprecedented problems plaguing our contemporary country: a presidential impeachment, deepening party polarization, and the politicization of a pernicious pandemic. These words, I found, did not just describe the enriching experience I had in my history classroom, but embodied my Mercersburg journey. The ups and downs and in-betweens, the moments and memories that molded my 3 years into something to be cherished, a treasure chest of hopes and hurts, ambitions and bruises, triumphs and failures. They celebrate the simple wonders, the hazy glow of the writing center on a rainy fall night, beginnings of a 2-person Latin class spent discussing the superiority of arugula, the sweet scent of coffee cake muffins melded with the measured rhythms of spoken poetry. And they also honor the struggles, the trials that tested me, taught me, and toughened me. Encompassing all of these experiences is a fantastic fullness, an enveloping patchwork of Mercersburg moments. Class of 2021, from 4-year seniors to postgraduates, our Mercersburg story has been defined by this fullness. The fullness of laughter and loud swelling cheers, of difficult days and saddened spirits, of stimulating seminars, astounding creativity, and compassionate thought. And, confronted with unparalleled obstacles, our final year has been defined by an incredible resilience. From the bubbling tensions of a bitter 2020 presidential election, perpetual fear of a fatal pandemic, and national reckoning with the insidious inequalities of systemic injustice to the complications of virtual learning and the mourning of lost high school memories, we have faced these wild storm waves with grit and with grace. 3 years ago, I sat in the audience steeped in sweat and stared up at my sister's graduating class, the class of 2018. Elevated on the esteemed platform, as the yellow sun poured across the stage and yolky beams, the graduates seemed to swim in a pool of golden light. I watched as each senior rose, shuffled past pairs of knees, and embarked on the arduous trek to receive their diplomas, and I listened to the jubilant cheers from the freshmen, my future classmates, on the bleachers behind me. I felt content, basking in the beauty of the lush campus that I would soon step foot on, not as a visiting little sister, but as a student. I itched to be a part of this place, this sliver of a state where community and camaraderie seemed baked into its being, where teachers were trusted friends and learning meant more than a grade, and its people appeared bound by a shared purpose and pride. And in a few short months, I would be immersed into this Mercersburg I had imagined. But my transition would not be without its tests. At times, I would feel trapped by a timidity that turned myself inward and morphed my mouth into a gate that obstructed my words from plummeting out. That filled me with fear as I struggled to speak up in seminars and envied the eloquence of my peers who spoke with courageous confidence. And although this will always be a part of me, this ingrained strain of shyness and preference for expression in the language of written words, and I cannot claim to be completely composed as I stand here speaking in front of a sea of sun-soaked faces, I have learned to see the value in using my voice, to savor the sense of words tumbling off my tongue, to soak up the smooth sound of syllables, to embrace the vibration of my voice and forgive the flushes that flower on my face as I open my lips to speak. To all those who have carried me to this place, I am eternally grateful. To my teachers who have pushed me, challenged me, inspired me with their passion, and encouraged my curiosities. To Mrs. Titus for her unrelenting optimism, her fierce faith in our community, and for always reminding us what is important, the people around us. to my entire family for their constant love and support, and my parents, my backbone, for all of the sacrifices you have made for me and for always believing in me, even when I myself do not. And to the great class of 2021, our crazy, eclectic, colorful class, a class of comics and composers, swimmers and singers, poets and painters and passionate people, thank you for the timeless memories and the invaluable lessons you all have taught me. As you leave behind Mercersburg and embark on your next journey, in your next 4 years and beyond, may you laugh, may you think, and may you cry. And may you always carry with you a piece of this place, of this big, blue family we will forever call home. Thank you.
Thank you to Alexa. Now we have a number of special awards. But before turning to the awards that come from within the school, I want to begin with several others. I'd like to recognize members of the senior class who have accepted appointments at the U.S. Naval Academy at Annapolis, the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, and the U.S. Air Force Academy. I will ask those students who are present to stand and remain standing until all names are called. As a side note, a number of our Service Academy graduates have elected to return home early as to spend time with family and friends before entering their plebe summers. Nonetheless, we honor them. To the U.S. Naval Academy, Everett Andrew, Max Autry, Owen Beastie, Alexandra Kwasniewski, Blake Simpson, Trevor Torres, and Julian Trilling. To the U.S. Military Academy, Alexander Edwards, Aidan Henry, Jack Mowry, and Isaac Newman. And finally, to the U.S. Air Force Academy, Andrew Armbruster. Congratulations to our Service Academy graduates. The Irwin Cohen Scholar Athlete Prize is awarded to the girl with the highest scholarship average who has also won a varsity letter. The Cohen Prize is awarded to Alexa Marsh. The Frank Hoffmeyer Scholar Athlete Prize is awarded to the boy with the highest scholarship average, who has also won a varsity letter. The Hoffmeister Prize is awarded to Min-Soo Jung. The Darrell Ecker Award for Outstanding Female Athlete and the Leonard Plants Award for Outstanding Male Athlete are awarded to the senior female and male athlete who serve as an inspiration to their fellow students through their dedication, hard work, sense of fair play, outstanding achievement, contributions, and sterling leadership on the athletic field and in school. The Ecker Award is given to Liz Kendrick, and the Plants Award is given to Dylan Gantt. Recognition is given to the two 12-season varsity athlete letter award winners in the senior class. They are Addie Geithner and Liz Kendrick. The Persis F. Ross Award is made to the senior who has contributed the most to the success of outdoor programs during his or her years at Mercersburg. This year, it is awarded to Maggie Betkowski. At this point, I would like to invite two members from the class of 2020, Davis Anderson and Abram Atuwar Awuma, to come to the platform to present the class of 2020 prize.
The Class of 2020 prize is given each year in honor of Mercersburg Academy's Class of 2020 to acknowledge the unique circumstances in which their class completed their Mercersburg journey virtually throughout the COVID-19 pandemic outbreak. The award is given to that graduating senior who best represents the resilience modeled by the Class of 2020 and serves as a reminder that Mercersburg has faced the wild storm waves and bravely she faces them still.
This year, it is awarded to Aiden McCracken.
If you haven't figured it out, that's the first time we've given that award. Shout out to the class of 2020. I see you guys out there. The Class of 2003 award is given to a senior who has displayed strong qualities of integrity and perseverance, all while commanding the respect of his or her peers, but who has not received great public recognition. Individuals are nominated by the senior class officers, and a final selection is made by an awards committee. This year, it is awarded to Marco Mallow. The Yale University Aurelian Prize is given for sterling character, high scholarship, and forceful leadership. It is voted by the members of the senior class. It is awarded to Leanne Wang. The Francis Shunk Downs Prize is awarded for all-round growth in studies and extracurricular activities to a senior who has at the same time exercised strong leadership and influence. It is awarded to Gordon Lee. The William C. Fowle Award is presented to a senior who, in the opinion of the senior members of the Student Council, has worked most effectively behind the scenes and without recognition to make significant contributions to the school. It is awarded to Addie Geithner. The Carol Emerocho Class of '81 Prize is awarded to that member of the senior class who has best exhibited the energy, enthusiasm, and effort that were so much a part of Carol's life. It is awarded to Maddie Norris. The Mary Jane Berger Prize is awarded annually to the member of the senior class who has exerted the best influence on his or her class. It is awarded to Rose Potter. The Tim O. Rockwell Award is presented annually to that graduate who, in the opinion of the Dean of Student Life, has exhibited the greatest overall personal growth during 3 or 4 years as a student at Mercersburg. It is awarded this year to Liz Kendrick. And finally, the Head of Schools Prize is awarded by the head of school to that member of the senior class who has distinguished himself for service, leadership, and influence throughout the year. It is awarded to Ryan Bland. Now go put your prize down because I'm going to call you right back up here. And now I'd like to introduce the student body president, Ryan Bland, to come forth to introduce today's speaker.
As the Student Council President, I have the honor of introducing today's speaker, Mr. Floyd Robinson, a former faculty member at Mercersburg Academy. Mr. Robinson grew up in nearby Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. In 1968, the summer before his senior year at Shippensburg University, he was teaching an English class in the Upward Bound program held on Mercersburg's campus when a visitor entered his classroom as an observer. The observer turned out to be Mercersburg headmaster William C. Fowle, who later met with Robinson and said that he planned to integrate the school's faculty the following year. Mr. Robinson was hired as the school's first faculty member of color in fall 1969. In addition to teaching English, he worked with the Ridge Project and lived in 88 Dormitory and Fowle Hall. Mr. Robinson left Mercersburg in 1976 for a job at Gulf Oil and American Express before moving into the field of medical administration with MD Anderson Cancer Center and the Memorial Hermann Health System in Houston, Texas. In 1994, Mr. Robinson became director of the University of Houston Health Center, where he introduced free HIV testing, a psychiatric clinic and a men's clinic for students, and dental services for students, faculty, and staff. He became the school's first assistant vice president for student affairs and health and wellness in 2012. In that position, Mr. Robinson managed 6 different student service areas. Mr. Robinson is also an accomplished musician who is a member of Houston's Christ Church Cathedral Choir and has sung with choirs directed by Leonard Bernstein and Fred Waring. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Floyd Robinson back to Mercersburg Academy. Thank you.
Well, it's good to be back. I've got a first, and this was not in my notes, and I apologize to those who are keeping the time watch on me. I'm going to violate it. I promise I am. So now is the time to start throwing the tomatoes from the back, please. I first want to point out that you got your wish to have graduation here. I cheated. A couple of months ago, I asked Tim Crouch if I could have the pleasure of meeting via Zoom some of the illustrious graduates. I think Tim may have found that request a little bit strange, but for me, since I have been so far removed from this age group, I wanted to see who they were, what they were like, how they had survived the year. And I got to meet with what I came to call the best and the brightest. They were vocal, they were free to talk with me. I asked if there were anything that you would wish for, and the one wish that was resounded was, we want to be able to graduate on this stage. And here they are. And I think that is a wonderful accomplishment, and I congratulate those of you who were persevering in getting that wish. I came in from Houston, Texas on yesterday, and before I left Houston, one of my best friends, she asked me, do you have a title for your commencement speech, and are you going to be doing it virtually? And I glanced at my watch and I said, as of 7 p.m. the night before, I'm not doing it virtually. I'm going to actually fly to Pennsylvania, and I'm actually going to be there. And the subject that I never ascribed to my speech, but as I began looking at my speech, it really would be properly titled Celebration of Students. And I want to specifically dedicate, although I feel very awkward, I'm speaking to students and I'm looking at parents, families, and friends. Now, The Floyd Robinson that I knew years ago would actually turn this podium right now, but then I'm sure people would yell and scream because there are cameras and such, and the head of school is here, and she may think that that would be an inappropriate thing to do. But students, please know, not that this is not an attractive audience, I would rather be looking at you, because my speech is for you. And so from time to time, you may think me to be rude because I'm going to turn this way, and you may think how insulting, he came to talk to us and he's talking out there. But I'm going to try to balance it as best I can. I also want to tell you in advance, there is one word in my presentation today that stings. And it's a hotly controversial word, but I feel in all sincerity I have got to include it, and I dealt with to include it or not to include it for some time, as recent as early this morning. But I want to capture the authenticity of my speech, and so I'm giving everyone a fair warning. There is a word that will sting, probably as much as it stung me when I heard it for the very first time. Well, son, I'll tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. It's had tacks in it, and splinters, and boards torn up, and places with no carpet on the floor, bare. But all the time, eyes have been a-climbing on, and reaching landings and turning corners, and sometimes going in the dark, where there ain't been no light. So, boy, don't you turn back. Don't you set down on the steps 'cause you feel it's kinda hard. Don't you fail now, for eyes are still going, honey. Eyes are still climbing. And life for me ain't been no crystal stair. I think all of us today can relate to the poem by Langston Hughes, titled Mother to Son. It is a commencement address in and of itself. It speaks honestly of the past, and it encourages one to strive for better in the future. This past year has not been a crystal stair for the world at large. It has been full of tacks and splinters in the form of global health disaster, deaths, insurrection, racial reckoning, political division and discourse, and the occasional problematic Zoom meeting. I'm glad to know that some of you had that as well. You as students and the school showed ingenuity. You have experimented and created new ways to educate and learn, new ways to work, and have taken deep dives into technology. Some would refer to that as pivoting. During the global health disaster, you found ways to meet the needs of others in turning your eyes to your neighbors and the wider world. Many of you worked to meet the needs of your communities by keeping them safe with mask making and distribution, feeding the hungry, hosting food giveaways and food drives, caring for the sick, doing what could be done from afar, given social distancing restraints. We even found ways to mourn, to celebrate, and even to graduate. COVID was not the only trial we faced. We witnessed in 2020 more division and discourse surrounding politics than ever before, from the highest offices in government to the walls within some of our very own homes. Arguments about science related to medicine and climate change, along with political debates, became a norm. 2020 became a year of going back to basics, reading books, and not just on our Kindle. Writing, Netflix, puzzles, working out, baking banana bread, calling on the phone, sending greeting cards, taking long drives, and for students, extended study hours. As students, your lives were challenged. No more family dinners in Ford Hall. Disrupted PGA. Athletes were not competing with other schools. Those students in the arts were given limited exposure and performances. Limited to no in-person classes, therefore isolation from not only your fellow students, but your mentors, your teachers. Lives were challenged and frustrated. I commend you for your perseverance, because it brought you to today, June 5th, 2021, your graduation day. Although my back is to you, this is really your day. I'm here because of you, not because of this illustrious audience, but because of you, and I thank you for that. You made it. You achieved this goal under duress and deserve to be recognized. I know that some of you learned about yourself during this trying year. One student told me that he learned to commit more, and when he committed, he meant it. I know of one student who learned to be true to himself. These are both good attributes to learn at any time in life. I think it only fair to commend your families, school administrators, faculty, and staff, because I can promise you that during this chaotic time, life for them ain't been no crystal stair either. Like you, they too persevered and made it here to this day of recognition. So how did you come to Mercersburg? I know that some of you are what we once called legacy students. Grandparents, parents, siblings came to Mercersburg. I know of one student whose grandfather and her two sisters graduated from Mercersburg. Some live as close as Greencastle and decided that Mercersburg was the school choice for them. All of you came here for reasons which made sense and still made sense despite the trying year. Your decision, I promise, will serve you well. You may be wondering how I came to be at Mercersburg. I began my affiliation with the Academy some 50-plus years ago. During the summer of 1968, as you heard in the introduction, I was hired by a federal government program called the Upward Bound, which served underprivileged boys. I was hired to serve as a senior counselor. I had just finished my junior year of undergraduate school as an English major and was looking forward to student teaching in the fall. 2 days before our Upward Bound program was to begin, one of the English teachers decided that she was not able to keep her commitment for the summer, and so I was asked to teach in her stead. Not knowing the curriculum, but being eager for the challenge, of course I said yes, and began teaching 2 days later. It was illuminating and satisfying and scary all at the same time. It was during that first summer, however, when my class had an unannounced visitor. He arrived mid-class, left before I finished teaching, so we had no opportunity to meet. I assumed he was from the federal government doing one of the audits that we were warned would be happening throughout the summer. But it turned out that that visitor was the then head of school, William Fowle. I was invited to his office a few days later, where he told me that the Academy and Regents had decided to hire its first teacher of color, and he asked if I would be interested in applying for that position. I explained that I had not yet finished my senior year of undergraduate school, but of course he knew that. He had done quite a bit of history on me. Fortunately, he didn't find out all of the history that, had he asked my parents, they would have said, forget it, wrong choice. But he asked that I send him my midterm grades as well as my final grades, and I agreed to do so. Truth is, I hand-delivered both sets of grades to him in his office at Trailer Hall, both the midterm and the final grades. And I was hired to teach English for the fall of 1969. I was the first teacher of color of Mercersburg Academy. I qualify as a man of color as I am 49.6% sub-Saharan African and 47.4% Northwestern European, according to the science of 23andMe. I was not at all prepared for what I encountered in my first year of teaching. I really don't think even the head of the school could have adequately prepared me. 3 new teachers joined the English department that same year, and of course we teamed up instantly. Both of them stayed for only 2 years. I remained for 7. How or why, you may be asking yourself, did I do it for 7 years? The reason is here. The reason is here. I stayed at Mercersburg because of students. You, the graduating class of 2021, give me the long overdue opportunity to thank students for their mentoring, guidance, friendship, loyalty, and kindness. I could never have lasted here as long as I did without the support of students. I remember going into Ford Hall the first evening for dinner and looking for my assigned table. Turns out it was just inside the doors and the first table to the left. It was my first time in Ford Hall as a faculty member. I chose to sit on the opposite end of the table of where I was supposed to sit, but a kind student directed me to my seat. We had a blue and white coat for each table. I assumed that we still have blue and white coats. Good, because they helped me tremendously. We had a blue and white coat for each table, and I quickly learned their responsibility. The proctor at my table just happened to be also the proctor on my floor in the 88 dormitory where I lived, so I had at least one face that I did recognize. I was under the care of students at meals back then, 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 7 days a week. They taught me well. They even apprised me as to where to find peanut butter and jelly on those rare times when meals were served that students referred to as mystery meat. I doubt that they serve those meals anymore. Yeah, I'm hearing from this side of the audience, maybe yes. My floor proctors were great advisors. Scott and Clarence taught me well. Students in my classes were eager to give me advice on matters which made my life as a teacher so much easier. Some of these very students were even caretakers of my classroom, which was on the 3rd floor of Irvine Hall, the first door on the left. On occasion, these students would retrieve notes which had been left for me, and these were not always notes of warm welcome. Students protected me. Students were sensitive and insightful. During my very first parents' weekend, a set of parents walked into my classroom for their scheduled meeting. The mother sat, and the father not only refused my handshake, but he also refused to sit. I introduced myself and sat when the father announced that his son had not told them that I was, and there was this long pause. And so I interjected, his English teacher? And the father said, no, he did not tell us that you were a nigger. I responded that I'm sure his son saw me as being only his English teacher, and that my race had nothing to do with his perception. The family left my classroom with no discussion, and I was left waiting for the next scheduled family to arrive. It was not an easy parent weekend, to say the least. That word stung me, not only then, but for the duration of that entire weekend. There is a happy ending, however, to this ugly interaction. I was called to the headmaster's office Sunday afternoon of parent weekend to find the student and his parents. With some trepidation, I waited to be invited into Mr. Fowle's office, where I learned that the student would no longer be in my English class. I walked back to my apartment, feeling that I had no recourse in the decision announced, and it made me very sad. I wanted to fight to have that student remain in my class, but it felt it would be inappropriate to do so. The next day, Monday, this very student in question appeared in my class as scheduled. He continued to attend class, and one evening he stopped at my dining table after dinner and explained that he wanted to stay in my class if I had no objection. He had already told Mr. Fowle and his parents of his decision to stay on. It was that display of fortitude and resolve that makes me forever, ever grateful for students. The students of Mercersburg Academy have taught me so very, very much. Some students learned that I loved to sing, and they suggested that I attend Glee Club rehearsals. I eagerly took them up on their offer, but not without checking with the director first. He okayed it and even invited me to sing 1 or 2 songs in their spring concerts. I even got to travel with the Glee Club as a chaperone to other schools for performances. After one such performance, we were invited to a candlelit dinner. This was to precede the dance for the students of both schools. Shortly after I entered the room for dinner, I was approached by an administrator of that school and invited to chat with her outside. She told me that if I wanted to eat, that I would be invited to dine in another room by myself. I declined, and I returned to the bus. Unbeknown to me, members of the Mercersburg Academy Glee Club observed my situation. Shortly after getting on the bus, 2 students from Mercersburg visited and expressed their concern. I played it down, but they didn't buy it. Shortly after they left the bus, other students from Mercersburg arrived, and some even brought food for me. This kindness meant so very much to me. I declined future invitations to travel with the Glee Club, but I still attended rehearsals, and I attended all out of the loyalty to students. So why is this such an auspicious moment for me to deliver your commencement address? It gives me the privilege to thank Mercersburg Academy students for establishing a lifelong commitment to supporting students. I retired from a 25-year career in student affairs at the University of Houston. Mercersburg students taught me that students deserve all that we as educators can and should offer them. In congratulating you today, I am also thanking the students who supported me during my tenure here. Students, you have the strength, the power, and the wisdom to make a difference. Your abilities to make life more humane is an inherent part of who you are and who you will become. We heard some of that today with our student speakers. Do not fail to reach out to others to make a difference. The world needs you. You make a difference. Graduates of 2021, in your future, when you encounter those stairs with tacks in them, splinters, boards torn up, and even places with no carpet, do not sit down on the stairs because you are disillusioned or are challenged. Forge ahead, climb on to the next landing. Do not turn back. Who knows? You may be lucky enough to find a fellow Mercersburg graduate to help you navigate. My best and my congratulations to the class of 2021. My thanks to your families, faculty, staff, administrators, and regents. I close with a quote from a more contemporary poet, one whom you may know actually, Amanda Gorman. Amanda is the 22-year-old youth poet laureate of Los Angeles, who appeared on the horizon January 20th, 2021 in Washington, D.C. at the inauguration. In her poem, The Hill We Climb, she writes, "And so we lift our gaze, not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Graduates, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you to Mr. Robinson. We now come to the main event, the announcement and awarding of diplomas. In the actual awarding of diplomas, I will represent the faculty, and Stacy Lissette, Mercersburg class of 1985 and president of the Board of Regents, will represent the board. The marshals for the class of 2021, Kevin Chen and Abube Onwusika, will announce the recipients. They will announce each senior's name and then announce each other's diploma and that of the president of the class at the end. But before Kevin and Abube come forward to begin, I invite Stacy Lissette, our Board of Regents president, to come forward and award the first diploma. Stacy.
Thank you, Katie. Before I award the diploma, and I'll be very brief because I'm the only thing that stands between you and what you came here for today. I just want to congratulate all of you on behalf of the Board of Regents and congratulate the families and the faculty and staff on what has been an incredibly challenging year. And I want to wish all of you well and welcome you to the alumni body. And I want to remind you that you're always part of this Mercersburg family. So please come back often, and I hope that you still get a lump in your throat when you drive on campus like I do still 36 years later. So don't be strangers and please come back. With that being said, I'm going to get right to, I have the privilege of awarding and announcing just one diploma, the one going to the member of the class who's finished first in the class academically for just this senior year. This year, that diploma goes to Minsu Jung.
Jacob David Algren.
Everett Charles Andrew.
Hello from Chicago.
Andrew James Armbruster.
Elizabeth Kidder Arrowwood.
Max William Autry.
Sally Eloise Ballantyne.
Isabella Beatrice Bacariso Kobo.
Jordan Gale Beard.
Owen J. BC.
Margaret Louise Bukowski.
Vansh Manoj Badrani.
Susanna Constance Birch.
Ryan William Bland.
Lucy Melaine Bowman.
Maximo Peppercorn Brader.
Matthew Raymond Burek.
Elena Young Chatney.
Taylor Louis Shepard.
Rachel Liz Crewy.
Ian Heller Kirkshank.
Anna Wren Deborah.
Echo Undo Sendile Daniels.
Rishika Jariwala.
Madison Lee Dawson.
Anna Catherine Divas.
Caroline Heather Dillard.
George Gerard Devone.
Kirsten Marie Donnelly.
Donovan William Dowling.
Dylan Walter Dowling.
Catherine Doyle.
Trey Aiden James Eckstein.
Marley Ann Ecton.
Alexander T. Edwards.
Lauren Sabine Ellison.
Stanley Chi-Hon Fang.
Elizabeth Caitlin Flaherty.
Thomas Duffy Flanagan.
Andrew Harrington Forrester.
Dylan Vallis Gantt.
Adeline Rose Costello Geithner.
Clara Rose Getty.
Luis Fernando Gomez.
Yijie Han.
Greetings from Beijing.
Lois Etheridge Hargrove.
Jad Ashraf Hassoun.
Aiden James Henry.
Son Hyun Hon.
J. Nelson Howley.
Jason Jing Chen Huang.
Ava Marie Hall.
Mia Tarrant Ingram.
Thomas Scott Jenkins.
Maya Andrea Johnson.
Virginia Martin Jones.
Naya Solari Jurgensen.
Aiden Patrick Kane.
Hey everyone, I'm currently in Lawrenceville, New Jersey right now.
Elizabeth and Kendrick.
Eliana Clara Kick.
Chivu Q.
Ryan DeYoung Kim.
Prithvi Koda.
Auraba Kwakoma Kufuor.
Hi, Mercersburg. It's Aurelian Floyd. Greetings from Accra, Ghana.
Alexandra Anna Kwasniewski.
Lynn Bao Lei.
Hi from Vietnam.
Jamu Gordon Lee.
Isabel Ann Lewis.
Aili Liu.
Greetings from Shanghai, China.
Blanca Lopez Martinez.
Katrina Lynn Lovegren.
Yurong Luo.
Hello from Beijing, China.
Maria Lorena Marquez.
Casper Antoniesta Malmros.
Marco Antonio Malo, Jr.
Alexa Grace Marsh.
Aiden Joshua Zane McCracken.
Maxwell Wallace McCullough.
Tony Marie Eleanor Meehan.
Dalila Grigoryevna Melkomova.
Saskia K. Ichers Mentor.
Greetings from Johnstown, Pennsylvania.
Lillian Bryce Mitchell.
Jack William Mowry.
Paloma Moses Nieto.
Shoki Namoto.
Isaac Spadley Newman.
Julia Chandler Newton.
Mai Phuong Nguyen.
Greetings from Hanoi, Vietnam.
Samuel Jackson Nobley.
Sarah Allison Norbosch.
Madison Joy Fuxingqing Norris.
Francesco Caleb Oliva.
Amelia Page.
Jason Park.
Hello from South Korea.
Avery Amelia Poffenberger.
Catherine Kimball Prentice.
Adam Michael Rappaport.
Mason Christopher Liles Reed.
Stephen Edward Rice.
Tristan Dylan Russell.
Brandon S. Ryu.
Greetings from South Korea.
Colette Brian Fox Sandu.
Laura Katarina Schumacher.
Rain Joe Scott.
Chelsea Rose C.B. Bruno.
Greetings from Saudi Arabia.
Gordon Albert Simon.
Blake Cameron Simpson.
Annika Elizabeth Stewart.
Fiona Rayner Sweeney.
Victoria Taperova.
Luke Anderson Thompson.
Greetings from Huntington, Pennsylvania.
Hatton Tong.
Trevor Torres.
Julian Joseph Trilling.
Cade Venkatesan.
Jeanette Elizabeth Beener.
Leanne King-Yi Wang.
Guilford Dudley Ware III.
Dean Thomas Waters.
Annika Sean Willander.
Cameron James Wilcox.
Farah Inawoicho Enitan Yahaya.
Cameron Elizabeth Yeager.
Elsa Nygaard Yelk.
Jiajing Ying.
Greetings from Shanghai.
Andrew E. Ewan. Kaiyu Shen.
Ebube Samkene Ozika.
Rosalie May Potter.
Congratulations to the class of 2021. Go forth from this moment with pride for what you have accomplished, gratitude for those who helped you along the way, and hope for the future that lies before you. A new chapter is beginning, but always know that you have a home here at Mercersburg. We will always be here to greet you with full hearts and loud swelling cheers. On behalf of the faculty, staff, and Board of Regents, I officially declare the class of 2021 graduates of Mercersburg Academy. Go forth from this moment and always carry the Mercersburg spirit with you. Thank you for giving so much of yourselves to our great school. And now our school minister, Reverend Whitmore, will lead us in a benediction before the seniors process out.
Will you please stand for the benediction? Class of 2021, as you go on your way, may you be people of purpose. May you deal kindly with others, even when they have not warranted that in return. May you seek to be agents of positive change, bettering this world and the communities you reside within. May you experience love and show love. May your life be filled with beauty and joy. May you always recognize these elements when they are present. May you be grateful for the life that you have been given. And may you take the experiences you have gained at Mercersburg Academy and go forward to do great things. Amen. Go ahead.